I'm back. I know it's a little impromptu. I'm not actually playing Subnautica really. I might just run around in here while talking. But if you guys want to know kind of what led into this, watch the last 10 minutes, or like actually probably I'll just say the last 5 minutes roughly of the last stream. And the last stream that was right before this, I believe it was Subnautica BZ or Below Zero, stream number 9. I think that was part 3. I'm pretty much done with the actual Subnautica for today, but I wanted to talk about some stuff about YouTube, kind of how I feel about YouTube. So I'll just reiterate some stuff from what I was saying. So I'm going to talk a little bit about my past on YouTube, because I don't feel like making a video on it. I'll be more open about this. I'm not going to talk about all the stuff that I watch now, just because that's not as important to like kind of what I'm saying, but I might run around a little bit in Subnautica in this, but I'll keep a pause for parts of it. So pretty much like my career and my viewing of YouTube started around 7 years ago, and I'll be honest, I was a little bit, I don't know, it was kind of uncomfortable because 7 years ago I had never really been online. I think a lot of people who are my age back in that time, I'm not going to say my age, like I think a lot of people at that time, back in 2016, seven-ish years ago, it's because I remember roughly the year that it was. I'm pretty sure it was 2016, 2015. It's probably whenever Jacksepticeye was making his Happy Wheel series for the first time. That's probably like 50 episodes in or something like that. Because I actually got into it because one of my friends had told me about Happy Wheels, and I was like, oh, what's Happy Wheels? And then it showed me Jacksepticeye, and that was not the first time I'd been on YouTube. I'd seen YouTube some, but the way I viewed YouTube is I think how some adults view YouTube as just a resource. I hadn't really gone on there much. I'd only just had a mobile phone, and I believe also like I didn't have a laptop. Now I do. Obviously, I need that to edit, but I don't even think I had a laptop at the time. I think I had on my iPad. I used to have an iPad when I was really young, long time ago. Like when I had an iPad, I'm pretty sure that was like probably grade school, something like that, maybe middle school. That was kind of crazy because like I think I did watch YouTube at the time, but it was like very little. I think I mostly watched like Netflix or like TV show, like actual like genuine TV shows on the iPad. But I think I really got interested in YouTube about 7 years ago with Jacksepticeye. He is my first major YouTuber, and in my mind there's always the big three, the trio. Though I didn't watch them equally throughout the first, I'd say probably 3 years of my time on YouTube, watching YouTube from like 2016 to 2019. The big three in my mind were Jacksepticeye, Markiplier, and PewDiePie. And I kind of like in my mind correlate the colors: green for Jacksepticeye, red for Markiplier, and probably yellow. I think yellow for PewDiePie, or maybe orange. I can't remember what it was. Like red, yellow for PewDiePie. So like that was a big part of what I watched back in the day. I would mostly stick to their stuff because back then they were doing a lot more daily uploads. I think the first two I really watched were Jacksepticeye and PewDiePie, and I watched Markiplier a little bit more later on. But overall, YouTube, I first got into YouTube because obviously I think a lot of people who get onto YouTube, they want something interesting to watch, and frankly I didn't have many friends at the time. A little bit of lore. Sorry if my dog's barking. He's being really annoying. Trying to have a heartfelt conversation, dog. Like, come on. Anyway, I'll continue talking while he hopefully quiets down. I doubt it. But the point is, I think I was drawn to YouTube for the same reason many people do. And it's always kind of hard because I think a lot of people need to try and balance that parasocial relationship that you form with the content creators you watch with and to balance that, like a genuine like admiration for the craft and like what they do, with also like I feel like those are the two major things, because you want to balance both. You don't want to idolize them too much because they're still a person. You want to put them up on such a pedestal because you know that a bunch of people are doing that anyway. And by watching them consistently, you are still, I'd say, putting them on a pedestal. But you can't do it to a degree where you like, I will do anything for them. If they ask me to do anything, I will do that. That's a toxic parasocial relationship. That's not good. You can be like, oh, it'd be great to meet them. Like I'd love to just to say hi, maybe talk for a minute. I'd be like, that would make my day. That'd make my week. Maybe my month, not my year. That's probably not good. But that'd be an awesome experience, just to say hi. And if they're nice, great. If they're not nice, then, well, they definitely do a good job of keeping an image on YouTube. At like faking it. But like, I think that's what drew me to eventually make my channel back 4 years ago. And as you guys know from the first video, it was a little shaky. Still my most viewed video though, I will say that. And my advertising campaigns, not the best. I advertise it verbally, not through Google ads or anything like that. That's waste of money. Plus, my channel wasn't interesting enough. I literally did my first few actual streams from my computer facing my TV. So, yeah, that wasn't the best. Things have changed since then, a little bit better, now that I have a PlayStation and whatnot. But, because those first few streams were actually on the Xbox. But, the point I'm getting at is that I think I joined YouTube kind of knowing that the delusion of grandeur were not a good thing. I mean, like you guys know, I'm at like 79 subscribers as of doing this. I'm at like roughly 80 subscribers over 4 years. That means I've averaged about 20 subscribers a year. I'll be completely honest. I probably got 50 of those in the first 2 years. I've gotten 30 in the last Actually, I probably got 60 of those in the first 2 years. I've gotten like 10 subscribers a year since then. I don't stream much. That's one thing. I also stream on YouTube. Twitch is I'd say a larger scene, but as I've read, I think the number is right. I think 99% of the viewers, I think 90% of the viewers on Twitch are controlled by the top 1% of streamers. So just like I do on YouTube, a lot of the time it goes unnoticed. So unless someone's looking for Subnautica, randomly looking for Subnautica, and I'm streaming at the time, or if someone is already subscribed to my channel and online, they won't see my stream live. They may see my stream afterwards, but that's mainly just if they're subscribed, because if they're going to do it, chances are bigger channels, which are channels I really enjoy about Subnautica, like Speedy Mouse, Last Bacon, Insomnia does some stuff on Subnautica. He does a lot more about Subnautica 3 coming out and stuff like that. And like those bigger channels are going to show up first, obviously. And people probably aren't going to go out of their way to look for some random channel at the bottom. Probably not going to watch a random hour-and-a-half stream. Which I get that. You want to watch people who are already making it big. And I feel like compared to the past, from how I'm viewing it from the outside, you need to do something crazy, revolutionary nowadays compared to the past. Where I feel like you needed a lot of talent. You still need talent, but you needed that great combination of talent, knowing what you need to post to make it big, and then working consistently and staying on the grind. I think that's how people like Jacksepticeye and PewDiePie, and I'd say also Markiplier. I'm not sure if his upload schedule was as tough as Jacksepticeye and PewDiePie. I thought that they still back in the day posted more than him. I'm not sure if that's true though, but nowadays I see it as more. If you come up with a revolutionary enough of a concept, you can grow. You can grow pretty fast, but you need to use a lot more clickbait from how I kind of see it. Clickbait is a lot bigger. You need to do a bunch of crazy things to get you big if you want to get big fast, and it probably won't work for a lot of people who tried it, but it can help. And I feel like there's been granted, with more time, a lot more niche groups I think have been forming. Like, the meme channels, for instance. I'll be honest, this is not the best thing. I do watch some meme channels. I find some of them to be kind of funny. A lot of times they recycle clips. But there are a few that I watch because, I want to watch something funny. I'm not going to listen to comedy or something like that, because a lot of times this stuff can be pretty cringe sometimes. But the point is, I would consider my watching habits between back then and now to be way different. Within the first 3 years I watched YouTube, from 2016 to 2019, before I made my channel, my main channels were I didn't really watch Markiplier until a bit more recently. Probably like 3 years ago maybe. But in the first 3 years, this is a time range of 7 years. So time frame of 7 years. So in the first 3 years I probably mainly watched channels like Jacksepticeye, PewDiePie, Dan TDM I watched a lot, And one channel that I would like to talk about a little bit, which I didn't want to do this on just a random video. I'm not going to waste time on that. I feel like it's a lot easier to be open and talk honestly. One of my favorite channels back in the day, one I watched nearly every day. I would catch up on videos and stay up to date. Popular MMOs. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the name, they're a Minecraft YouTube channel, and I know what you're thinking, Minecraft YouTube channel. But it was a YouTuber named Pat who's the channel owner, and his girlfriend Jen, who had her own channel, Gaming with Jen. And it's kind of hard to talk about because it is kind of sad, because this is one of the times that like I really felt the parasocial relationship, and I was like, this isn't good. So for years and years, I watched their videos probably from like a year and a half into YouTube and on. I watched all their series, Crafting Dead, all of their series. I loved their channel. Loved their interactions. It was great. And eventually they got married. I don't know all the time frames off the top of my head. I'm not going to do a bunch of research during the stream for this. I want to speak to the point. And eventually came out that eventually they divorced. And I don't think that, and if you guys want to watch the videos, now I know I've heard that Sunny V2 is a bit more biased in a lot of stuff, and he generally kind of goes on stuff that he knows are just going to get clicks. But he does have some information on there, so if you want to look into it, then you can. Popular MMOs, the fall of popular MMOs. After that, they broke up. Their cat Cloud, who's a super cute little cat, I'm not sure which one of them got it, because after that I was devastated. And it was really tough because they kept filming together. They kept recording some videos together, but eventually reached a point where they didn't film together anymore. And then Pat had another girlfriend. And then what happened was, and it's kind of like my personal relationship with that and how I think I saw a lot of other people react to it. One moment, sorry. The way that a lot of the people reacted was like, it's not Jen, this isn't right. And the really bad people decided, you know what, let's insult this new lady. And they did it about I think he had 3 girlfriends since then, or 2 of them that I was aware of, because I would watch every once in a while to see what was happening. And his viewership was going down and down and down, because what made the channel, it wasn't Pat. No offense. It wasn't Pat and it wasn't Jen. It was Pat and Jen. It was their interactions. It was what made them. It was what made their channel. It's what I think me and so many other people loved about the channel. And that building that kind of brand and having to take that brand away means that you're going to lose those people who are just going to look for something else. Oh, that's interesting. 943. I didn't know about that. Anyway, like, that was kind of tough because, like, I loved their content. I loved it. And, like, man, I'm actually getting, like, really, really sad right now. But they're one of and since then, if you keep track, I don't even know if Pat's uploaded in the last year or like 6 months. He uploads like once every few months. I don't know if he's riding off of the ad revenue he still gets or what, but I mean, who knows? Honestly, let me just quickly check to make sure the audio is working. Yeah. Who knows? Yeah, I think it's working. Let me look it up. I'm actually kind of interested to see. Popular MMOs. I'm not sure what you need for Social Blade, but he uploaded once a year ago. And I read their books. I read the first 2 books. I believe Pat actually recently deleted, I think Pat deleted his most recent video. Because yeah, and he's still subscribed to Jen's channel. It's still on there. It's really sad to see. He hasn't uploaded in over a year. He's probably still kind of going on the ad revenue. Apparently, I think he got arrested for domestic violence or something like that. Like, thing is, you never know what the people are like in real life. They can put on the best, they can be the best actor on camera, but you don't know who they are as a person. I don't know all the legitimacy. I'm not going to get into everything. He probably did do it, but like, thing is, you don't know who these who YouTubers are until well, frankly, you just won't know. You can't know. You can't. You really can't. And I think that's what hurt. That kind of hurt, because that when that happened, I was like so sad, because like that's like the equivalent of like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of someone like. That's the equivalent of like Tom Cruise like not being able to act anymore. Like, well, I mean, if Tom Cruise isn't that good of an actor. Anyway, that's like okay, that's like Tom Hanks having to retire from acting because he has some like, or Tom Cruise, or why do I keep saying Tom Cruise? That's like Tom Hanks having cancer, and like having to go through chemo and not being able to do any like acting and stuff. Like he can't do what he loves, and like that. I think that's probably the closest thing I can get. That might be a little bit outlandish, but point is, it's someone you really enjoy the work from, not being able to do that anymore, and everything starts to crumble around them. And another thing that I think kind of relates to it. I probably started watching them about 4 years ago. Actually, probably started watching them a little bit earlier. I probably started watching YouTube closer to 2015 maybe, but anyway, Let's Play and Rooster Teeth, Let's Play, Achievement Hunter. I used to watch their. I watched their after I think the popular MMO stuff. Excuse me. I think after the popular MMO stuff, and I think that's kind of where I went to. It's kind of hard because I'm trying to think back. I would watch a lot of. I started watching a lot more random, kind of like games and stuff like that, other than just like Minecraft and like one or two other games. And I continued doing that, and I still was watching Jacksepticeye consistently. I was still watching PewDiePie consistently. I watched PewDiePie consistently until the subscriber war ended. Pretty much halfway through the subscriber war. Which, I don't even know. God, was that like 2019? That's crazy. If it was that long ago. I don't even know. But yeah, I mean, I used to watch a lot more YouTube than I do now. Well, actually, about as much, honestly. The point is, a lot more kind of single-minded, like single kind of type of video, that kind of deal. But the point is that YouTube is always. I've kind of seen how YouTube, I think, has changed a little bit over time. A lot more people, I think, recently have gotten big over, like, from specific things. Like, I don't know about the specifics, but one person who comes to my mind, kind of, is Ryan Trahan, or Mr. Beast, and then Ryan Trahan. I watched Mr. Beast a decent amount of time ago. When I don't know how many subscribers I had. I think he had less than 10 at the time. 10 million. Not 10 subscribers. I think I may have actually seen Mr. Beast a couple times before he even reached 1 million. Once or twice. But I was like, oh, that's cool. But once he started reaching like over 1 million, that's I think when he started to ramp everything up a lot more. But I watched him when he was at 5 mil, a decent amount as well. I think it was 5 to 10 mil. But the point is that Ryan Trahan I kind of see as like a more recent Mr. Beast. He has a series. He had like the penny series where he gets like a penny a day. He has to work on his own to get somewhere. I can't remember what it was. It was something like that. And I watched one or two of his other videos that he made that I liked. He had a VR video, I think. I think it was Ryan Trahan who had a VR video that was really cool. But the point is, I'm gonna talk about Mr. Beast more. Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast is the face of YouTube at this point, period. It doesn't matter what you say. He is. He's treated as almost a saint-like figure. People flock to Greenville, North Carolina to go and to have a chance at getting something from him. And that's, I think, where the parasocial relationship kind of hits. Because, kind of like what I was saying before, with the whole YouTubers need to find a balance between what they love and what they need to do to continue making it big. And the thing is, I'm trying to think of a YouTuber who talked about it, explicitly talked about the fact that, they had to choose between, PewDiePie probably, talked about choosing between doing what they love and what they have to do to get there. PewDiePie said in one of his videos before he took a break in, I think, January last year, or, the year before, he said, I don't even know how long ago it was, he was just like, look, at this point, I'm going to do what I want. He does book reviews and stuff. Like that's though I may not be interested in it, he's doing what he's interested in. PewDiePie has a kid on the way. So does DanTDM has 2 kids now. I used to watch their content. I don't watch it anymore. It's you kind of evolve, you kind of grow as a person parallel to them, and you kind of grow away. And that's kind of the thing that is sort of interesting about how I view YouTube. Because it's a far different relationship than you get with like between a person like liking an actor or something like that. With that one, you just see their work infrequently, like maybe once a year. They're in like 2 movies or something like that a year. But with YouTubers, especially the more common, especially YouTubers that do a lot more videos, you see them weekly at least, probably. You may see them like twice a week, 3 times a week, sometimes even like every day, depending on the YouTuber. No, I think less of the big ones are really doing three times a week. Though, other than, I will say, my current kind of YouTube my info YouTuber, Most Critical, the GOAT. He does curse a lot, but that's just for the kids out there. A word of warning. But he's very good. He stays on the grind despite the fact that he has 12 million views, and I'm sure the ad revenue he gets is a lot. He's one of those YouTubers where I find he's able to do what he wants, and he's able to do both what he wants and what he needs to do to continue getting big. Now, granted, I do want to touch a little bit on how I view streamers, especially streamers on Twitch, who post a lot of stuff on YouTube, or like post videos on YouTube from it. He does that a lot. I know that channels like Ludwig do it. I think Ludwig posts his VODs on YouTube, I think. VODs is pretty much like the stream recaps from Twitch. I watch a couple of I watch 1 or 2 Twitch streamers. I don't really watch much Twitch, but I generally just don't have the time to spend like 4 hours watching a stream or like watching the recap of a stream. But there are 1 or 2 exceptions that I'm probably not going to get into. But the point is, Charlie, who runs a Twitch channel, Moist Critical, and the YouTube channel Penguin Zero or Penguin Zo, whatever it is. It's a Penguin with a Z, then 0. You should check him out. He has 12 million views. He posts like 2-3 times a day. I don't know how he does it, but he's able to do both what he needs to do, I think, and what he loves. He loves esports. He now runs Moist Esports, which he now co-owns with Ludwig, who I do want to talk about in a minute, and they seem to be. And he said it is a money pit, but it's what he loves. And as long as he can, and he wants to make sure that the merch sales for Moist Esports and for himself, and along with his channel revenue, will keep him up. I think he still lives with his. Well, I think he lived with his parents until very recently. I don't even know if he still does live with his parents. He may. Like, even just his stream room. I don't know what the rest of his house looks like, but I doubt it's anything ridiculously expensive. He doesn't need the luxury. He stays on the grind. A lot of his videos are just from stream. I'd say probably half of his videos, or maybe a third of his videos, are from streams. Like moments cut out from streams, because he does a lot of streaming. And though he does make videos on his own time, like he recently talked about, I think he talked about Caesar Majewski. I think he mentioned it. He talked about a few other. He talks about a lot of stuff, and that's one of the things I like. And I want to use that to segue into Twitch. So, as a person who doesn't stream on Twitch, how I view it is that, like, I see it as Twitch is just streamer. It's just streaming. But the thing is, it's not, though. Because a lot of those streamers have YouTube channels. And though they may not post a lot of videos separate from Twitch stuff, like Twitch recaps and stuff like that, they still have a big presence on YouTube. And I think contract-wise, I'm not sure if they changed it, but I'm pretty sure the policy was active at least a little bit back, was that you could not stream on both Twitch and YouTube but simultaneously. So you could only get one viewer base. So, and I'd say like people like Moist Critical, and I wasn't really going to bring it up, but I do watch a YouTuber named CDogVA. I've liked his content. I find it kind of interesting because he's a British guy randomly living in Japan, and it's kind of funny because like he kind of like weaves his way through culture and stuff. I find culture kind of interesting, and the way he does it, I think is somewhat similar to how Penguin Zero does it. Though I say Charlie, I'm just gonna refer to him as I'll switch between the 3: Penguin Zero, Charlie, Most Critical. way that Charlie does it is Charlie streams more than CDogVA, whose real name is Connor. Charlie streams more than Connor, I would say. I think Charlie streams every day. Connor streams maybe once a week, something like that. He does a lot of stuff. He also works for a company, so he does have obligations for that, and he also runs a podcast. So does Moist Critical, but so does Charlie, I meant. And I want to get into podcasts a little bit, but after that, I want to talk about Twitch. I'm doing this off rip. I'm doing this off the top of my head, but I feel that like the way that streamers are using Twitch to get people who are watching during the time, and then YouTube to get people to watch afterwards. It's an interesting system because you have these two platforms whose one kind of, I don't know, what is it? One use of YouTube is for streaming, competes with the entirety of the other platform, and that kind of caused some issues. YouTube's chat system, from what I've heard, YouTube's chat system is not nearly as effective as Twitch's, but Twitch also, I believe, I'm not sure if it changes if you, because I don't have a Twitch account, I don't know if it changes if you have a Twitch account, but you can only see a certain number of recent VODs. They only save for a couple VODs, I think. And then every time you do a new one, the last one on the list gets cycled out. Well, actually, no, it gets cut out. And that's why these VOD channels exist, I think. I'm not sure if it changes. I'm not sure if you have an account, you're able to access all of them. My guess is probably not, because Twitch has a limited amount of, I'd say, like server space probably. So they're probably like, at a certain number of streams, you either save it on your own or it's gone. That's what my guess is. And that's kind of that causes some issues because subathons. Ludwig. This is what I want to talk about. Ludwig. I've recently started watching Ludwig, and I really like his stuff. Now, I've been listening to a lot of YouTuber podcasts recently, and I'll end it off with some of the current YouTubers I watch now. But kind of like the growth. Like, YouTube has changed over time. And Ludwig was a Twitch streamer. He was big into the Smash scene, Super Smash Brothers scene. I think he still is. I had not heard of him really until maybe, I don't know, like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago maybe. And now I watch him fairly often. It's been a little bit less as of the last last month or two, just because I've been watching a little bit different stuff. I've been kind of listening to a bit more podcasts to get away from my phone a little bit. So I'm only listening to my phone, not looking at the entire time. But I find the fact that like someone like Ludwig was a Twitch streamer, okay? I'm not sure if everyone gets that. He was part of the rival platform for streaming. And Twitch, from what I've heard, it's a better stream platform, but it's not a better platform overall. And YouTube gives better ad deals. And Twitch has kind of just been going downhill because they've been trying to. Because a lot of the people, I'm not going to say leech, but a lot of major people on Twitch who were streaming on Twitch have gone to YouTube, a fair number. I'm not going to get into specifics because I frankly am not super knowledgeable about all the names, but the one that I know is Ludwig. I think Valkyrie may have done it. I don't watch her stuff, but I've heard of her. I think I read an article or something that it was one of those streamers who was part of like that kind of like one of the bigger streamers on Twitch who moved to YouTube for streaming. It was in like an article. They talked about Ludwig and stuff. But Ludwig made the biggest subathon. He's the most subscribed to Twitch streamer, and he's not a Twitch streamer anymore because YouTube gave him a better deal. Now I'm a little worried for Ludwig because, as I mentioned a little bit in the last stream, Susan Wojcicki, I'm pretty sure that's how it's pronounced. That's how Ludwig did it, and that was his boss because YouTube signed him to a contract, I believe. That's how it worked. I'm assuming it also entailed he could not stream on Twitch, which I'm sure he's happy for because the signing bonus, I'm sure, was quite enough. I'm assuming it was probably 7 figures. But that started the trend of YouTube. I don't think it started, but that was part of the trend where a lot of major Twitch streamers were going to YouTube because better ad deals. And now, when you look at it, that's a little weird. Okay, Twitch is kind of going downhill a little bit. I mean, from what I heard, they decreased their ad deals, and they were just like they decreased the ad revenue that each streamer got. I think apparently used to be only big streamers got 70-30 ad deals, I think, or something like that. I might be mixing up with YouTube. I think YouTube gives 70-30 ad deals. I think Twitch only used to give 70-30 ad deals to big streamers. But now they exclusively give 50/50s at best, I think. And they're just like, and then when people are complaining they're getting less ad revenue, they're just like, do more ads. And the thing is, ads on Twitch are so annoying. I've only watched a few streams on Twitch live, really just a few CDogVA streams, like one or two, or a couple live. I generally try to wait till they're over because I can't watch them all in one sitting, and I don't want to lose my spot. But anyway, from how I see it, a lot of people, they're just like, Twitch says, do more ads. And the thing is, Twitch ads, that can last a minute. And that's not like YouTube where you can, if you reload the page, you can skip part of it sometimes. One moment, I need a drink. My throat's like dying from talking this much. Sorry. And like, I see this and I'm just like, okay, that's interesting. YouTube still hasn't paid me a dime. Yeah, it's paid me less than a cent. It's paid supposedly for my first video, my ad revenue for them is 0.001 cents. But actually, sorry, the graph showed 0, and then on the y-axis, and the right above it was 0.001. It's 0.01 cents, not dollars. And then there was no bar. I was still making 0, which that was a little bit insulting, but whatever. A little bit of insult to injury, but I'm not monetized. I'm not going to get monetized probably for a while, if ever. But I mean, I'm not too like disgruntled about it. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. I do YouTube because I like it. And I think that kind of separates it. But anyway, back to Ludwig. I'll talk about myself a little bit. But Ludwig, I really enjoy his content. He has an interesting kind of perspective, seeing as he's a journalism graduate. He has a journalism degree, I believe. I believe a communications degree as well. And it's interesting how he's able to meld that into his some of his content. Because with his Mogul Mail channel, which I highly suggest you watch, he makes some decent, interesting videos. I sometimes, if there's a major thing, I'll watch both Charlie Moist Critical's channel where he talks about it, though he generally does it a little bit faster than Ludwig, and Ludwig's Mogul Mail channel to keep up on what's going on. Because I like the two interesting perspectives. And I find that Ludwig has like a very fresh kind of view on YouTube. I mean, like, I'm a little worried because Susan Wojcicki was his boss, and now that she's gone and Google has to put a new boss in for YouTube, I'm worried that they may meddle with his deal, because I'm assuming he was on pretty good terms with Susan. So I hope he's fine. Because I really do enjoy his content. Not parasocial, but point is, I enjoy the content that I enjoy, and it would be really sad if he moves. Now I think he's probably doing well enough. Now he's at like 2 million subscribers on YouTube. Still was I believe I'm not sure if he's surpassed yet. I don't know how the Twitch subsystem works. I think it's at like a certain time maybe. As far as I know, he still has the most, at least at a certain moment, has the most subs of all time on Twitch history. That's probably total. I don't know. Again, I'm not super knowledgeable about the system. I don't have a Twitch account. I don't watch much Twitch, especially not live. So I'm not knowledgeable of that. So I'm mostly talking about YouTube because there's also this stream / video. It's really just a talking thing. This thing is literally called My Thoughts on YouTube. And I'll just go in here and kind of peruse around, just kind of go around, kind of hang around the safe shallows a little bit. But the point is, it's a little bit harder to talk when I'm doing this, but whatever. I want to have a little bit of stuff in the background. I find it kind of interesting, someone like Ludwig, #1 on Twitch, is now a very well-known YouTuber, very well-known, and is exclusively on YouTube. That's something you don't see every day, and for someone to be able to switch platforms from YouTube, which is supposedly like the 3rd most trafficked website. Okay, I think I used the wrong word. Has the 3rd highest traffic of any website, I believe, on the internet. I think it's probably like Google. I'm not sure what the second one is, but I think YouTube's second. I think Google is first and YouTube is second. That's a lot of people. No, it's kind of crazy, how much you see. like happening on a platform like this. The place with the second most like people of like the second most like online users daily of any website in history. Like, that is insane. I'm sure Twitch was somewhat up there at some point, probably like top 25, I would assume. Scratch that, maybe 50. I don't know. I'm not gonna make claims that I can't really prove. But the point is, it's a little bit harder to focus on doing this, but it's fine. It's fun. YouTube is something that I've truly enjoyed watching, being a part of over the last few years. Though I know my channel likely will never grow to massive heights. A lot of these guys, I can at least admire the steps that people take. I'm gonna take this over to the starting area of the game, actually. But the point is, where am I now on YouTube? I'm nowhere near where I was. Those initial 3 I used to, oh yes, okay, this is the one major thing I actually did want to bring up. To date, the most interesting channel that I think brings up the questions about YouTube as a whole absolutely has to be Unis Honest. Now, if you never got to experience the glory of that channel, well, I would say go and check it out, but unfortunately you can't, because that was the whole point. Unis Honest was a channel, frankly, the only way I can actually say this, and I think it's ever happened, frankly, on YouTube, like one of the biggest, at least on YouTube, a concept channel. A legitimate concept channel. It sought out to prove and do one thing, and it did that. And then once it was done, it was done. And that was kind of hard, a tough pill to swallow. Now, this one is a little bit of a kind of sad, sort of side subject at times. But death. That's what the channel means. Memento Mori, remember death. That was the channel's slogan. It's 365 straight days of uploads non-stop, which did end up happening partially during COVID, which they didn't know about, which changed things. And they said at the beginning, at the end of the year, they're not going to continue. It's done. Bye-bye. No more channel. They're going to delete it. And I really admire them because, you know what they did? At the end of it, they deleted the channel. They followed through with what they said, and I really respect that. It is a place, frankly, one of the YouTube things in YouTube that I truly do hold near my heart, because that is something that can't be replicated, and anyone who tries to do that should be called out as just a plain like copycat. And it would never be executed to nearly the great degree that they did. And I truly, though I don't, it was by, it was by Markiplier, Mark Fishbach from Markiplier, and Ethan, shoot, what is his last name? I think it starts with a C. No. I don't know his last name, but Ethan from Crank Game Plays, who I watched even less, than I watched Markiplier, like, these aren't even people I watched a lot. I watched Markiplier a lot more back then. Now I don't really watch him at all, but the point is, that was something special. That's something that can't exist on a platform like Twitch. Something that really, it really gets to me, you know, like, I could be sad about a YouTuber like PewDiePie virtually getting pretty close to retiring, like pseudo retiring. That could be a good shot, but nothing would hit like that. Nothing hits like that. And you know, early on in YouTube, that's one of those things that finding that balance between what you need to make to survive on YouTube, to live, to provide for yourself and your family and and to be able to live the life you want to live, versus making what you love to help you live the life you want to live. And that's I think an issue with a lot of YouTubers. Like, this is me, someone who does not make a dime, makes no money from YouTube. I just waste money for them, but like having to save all my streams. But the point is, like, the thing is, like, finding that balance is hard. I think the best YouTubers are able to. And so, when I say best, that doesn't mean the people who don't are bad. It may honestly just mean that they haven't gotten a chance. They may not have. They may not be afforded that opportunity based on circumstances. Like, okay, I'm not really gonna get into it, but I watched, like I've mentioned, I watched CDogVA. I like his content. I watch some of his streams. Now he collaborates. I am not a fan of VTubers overall. I'll say that. I find them. First of all, they're almost all. My issue isn't that, but first of all, they're almost all women. Though there are a lot more, I think, male ones coming out. The point is, a lot of times, the sim community tends to kind of gravitate towards that kind of a thing. I think a lot of the time, the simps. And you have these big organizations like, I think Niji Sanji is one of them, HoloLive. Those are, I think, the two biggest ones. And then you have smaller, I think VShojo, which I'd say is smaller. That's one that the VTuber I'm talking about, Iron Mouse, is from. Now, I only watch her. I don't watch her individual content. I watch CDogVA Connor's individual content, but I do not watch Iron Mouse's individual content. I tried to. I wasn't a fan, but I do really like the interactions in, like, I'm trying to think. For, like, real duos, like, with the interactions that I really enjoy, after popular MMOs and Pat and Jen's kind of interactions together, I was looking for that sort of, I'm not gonna say pseudo couple, but, like, that kind of friendliness, like, that kind of, like, bond between two content creators that I could really, honestly, kind of parasocially latch onto, but to really enjoy. And when I found CDogVA and Iron Mouse, I was like, oh, great. Oh, brother. What is this? It's a VTuber. And I'm actually legitimately not a fan of most VTubers. They do their own thing. They obviously have to be talented enough to get at least some interest, but I'm more not a fan of a lot of the communities, I think. But Iron Mouse is a different situation. Now, if you don't know, Iron Mouse has, I'm pretty sure, she keeps very private. Obviously, that's part of the reason a lot of VTubers choose to be VTubers, is to keep their identities private. But I believe it's, I don't know the exactly what it is, but she has an autoimmune disorder. And, like, that's very tough to live with. You obviously can't do a lot. You have to be very careful. You don't want to get sick, because if you get sick, you can die, like, really easily. And it's scary. I'm sure it's a scary way to live. So she's fairly sequestered. So from how it seems, she's sequestered in her home. I think she has some other issues, but she doesn't mention them, which I obviously respect the privacy. Plus, don't personally know don't know her, obviously, so can't go say, hey, can you just tell me? Obviously not. She wants to keep it private, which I respect that. But I'm sure that she loves YouTube. She's a Twitch streamer, but I'm sure she loves streaming. I'm sure she loves social media, that kind of stuff. But I'm sure with a streamer like that, there is a large factor that is also also doing what you need to survive. I mean, with her disorder, and I believe her other issues that I'm pretty sure she has, mentioned that she has, like, she obviously won't go into specifics. With those kinds of things, medical bills, especially because she said I believe she's Puerto Rican, which part of the U.S. I'm not sure how medical services are there. I'm not sure if they're more expensive than they are in the mainland United States. I'm not sure kind of how it goes for that, but medical bills in the U.S., I'd say probably, even if it's not mainland U.S., I'm sure they're incredibly expensive. I mean, medical service, I'm sure, are fairly expensive everywhere that doesn't have a kind of, I think it's centralized healthcare, kind of like the UK with their NHS, the National Healthcare System. I'm sure that's expensive, and I don't want to dwell too much on this, but the point is, the money she makes from Twitch, I wouldn't be surprised if a whole large chunk of it does go into her medical bills, because she needs plasma, and like, plasma's certainly not the cheapest thing. I wouldn't know off the top of my head, but I mean, there are plasma trucks that go, like the Big Red Bus and stuff. I think it's pretty universal around the U.S. that the Big Red Bus. I don't think it's just located in like certain areas. I'm not sure, but I think that's what it's called. It's something like that. It's like the blood bus, but like they do it to collect plasma and stuff. I will admit I do live in the United States, so I kind of get an idea of that from the point of view of someone who lives in the United States, obviously. But with that, I feel like that's kind of one of those situations where like it's a combination very strongly on both sides of both doing what you really love, like streaming and like making content in general, even if it's not just streaming on because she does stream on Twitch, I believe, not on YouTube at all, and also doing what you need to survive. Medical bills are expensive. Obviously, she talks about her parents a lot. Her parents probably had to pay for a lot of her medical bills before she was able to become more. I'm not sure if she's fully self-sufficient with the money that she makes, because she does work for an organization which helped her make a platform, but I'm sure also takes a cut of her profits. So now that she's more reliant on herself, I feel like that's kind of like one of those situations where she needs that money to pay for her medical bills, or else she can't take care of herself. She can't, and it kind of becomes a cycle, because if she can't take care of herself, she can't stream, and she can't make money. And like, that's kind of like one of those situations where I feel that really does kind of show the difference between different types of YouTube. Like, someone who really puts in the work over time, like someone like Mr. Beast. I'll talk about Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast certainly loves what he does, but I think he's starting to feel the weight on his shoulders as being the face of YouTube. I'm sure he has these grandiose videos that and ideas that he comes up with, like insane stuff, absolutely crazy. Also, that little reflection thing's a little annoying, but whatever. He has to make this crazy stuff to get people to watch his stuff. I mean, like, I wouldn't expect I couldn't do that. He's the face of the second most. He is the individual creator face of an entire platform. The one with the second highest traffic on the entire internet. And he does what he can. I've watched some I listen to a lot more podcasts now, which I might mention some of the ones I watch, but I heard him on one of them. It was actually The Yard, which is Ludwig's podcast. I suggest it. I highly recommend it. It's good. And he just said if he doesn't think a video is good, he's not going to make it. And now obviously he has the money to do things that are so big. I mean, he helped give 1,000 people who had major eye issues. He helped them get surgery so they could see again. It was obviously somewhat of a clickbaity title saying that I cured 1,000 people's blindness or whatever, or 1,000 blind people. They weren't completely blind, but they had very, very bad visual impairment. And obviously he lives luxuriously, I'm sure. But I don't think he does it to nearly the degree he could. If he didn't want to do all this charity, he could probably do ones that don't require as much of a budget and don't require both as much of a budget or as much of an awarding to people. And I'm sure it wouldn't be as many views, I'm sure, because I feel like it does add to the lore of him and his channel. But I'm sure he'd still be able to do fine. I mean, that's what he did back in the day. When he wasn't giving out as much big stuff. He was still giving big stuff, but not that big. Wasn't doing a $3 million Squid Game or something like that. But sorry, I'm just checking how long the stream is. Wow, I was spending almost an hour talking. That's crazy. Wow. Okay, but this is honestly the sum of all my the things on YouTube. I probably won't make another video about how I feel about YouTube, but. Now about myself. Who do I watch now? Of those original four I mentioned, or five I mentioned, I really Markiplier I'm not going to count as one of the originals, but the first few ones I watched, major ones I watched, talk about Jacksepticeye, PewDiePie, DanTDM, Popular MMOs. I'm sorry, I'm getting a call again. I watch one of them. I don't watch PewDiePie. I watch maybe, I would consider even a fifth of one. I don't watch most of Jacksepticeye's videos nowadays. If it's a game I'm not interested in, I'm not going to watch him. Flat out. I'm not gonna watch him. I just won't. So, for the most part, I don't watch any of them. For the most part, I don't watch either of my 4 first favorite YouTubers or YouTube groups. None. Who do I watch now? I watch CDogVA. I listen to more podcasts. I watch a lot of Subnautica YouTubers. For a while I watched a lot of Madden YouTubers, though I stopped doing that about a year and a half ago, really, because I started to realize the repetition. And though I may play, Madden in the future again a little bit, though I'm not sure quite to what degree. Like, I kind of grown from that. Subnautica. Other stuff I'm actually genuinely interested in that I've started to enjoy, which I'm not going to get into because if I were to talk about it, I'd make a video about it, and that's somewhat unlikely. But I used to love reading. I still like reading, but I don't have the time to read. And I think a lot of people do face this situation. What you would rather do? Open up a paper book that your parents probably bought you like a few years ago. You read you didn't get to finish reading. Or would you rather just open up your phone and watch a YouTube video? Or watch a few YouTube videos, or a bunch of YouTube videos. Watch it non-stop, because you're addicted. And I am. A whole lot of people are addicted to YouTube and content. And I think that I'm pretty sure I'm using this phrase correctly. Let me just quickly look it up because I do want to actually state it correctly, because I think it's a pretty interesting name. In a second. Let me see. I see this phrase and I don't see anything about it. There's this article by Ann Lawrence on LinkedIn called "We Live in a Microwave Society." I've heard this. Impatience is all too common. This is the kind of how we live nowadays. We want immediate satisfaction, immediate, and YouTube provides that. Books don't. I used to love reading. And you know what? There's a pretty distinct mark, but pretty similar mark between the date that the rough time period that I stopped reading a lot of books, and the time that I started watching a lot of YouTube. And though it was a bit of a slow transfer, I probably stopped reading books often. Stopped reading books pretty often around probably 5 years ago. I'm not getting into my age and stuff for then, but the point is, that was when my schooling got a lot harder at that point. I had to read a lot more books for school, and that made it a little bit more difficult to read a separate book on my own, because I was already having to read a book and read books and write essays about them. And I'll be honest, on a separate note, I wouldn't make a huge video about it, because again, I do value the privacy. You guys know you guys know pretty much everything. You know you guys know my face, you know my YouTube handle. You guys do not know if Zach is my real name. I do go by Zach, but you guys won't know chances are no one will ever actually reach this point in the video, but I doubt anyone want to reach this point 54 minutes in, but I highly doubt it. But a lot of the books I read for school, I haven't enjoyed. There are very few that I've actually can legitimately say I completely enjoyed or I kind of liked. And maybe one day I'll mention some of the books I enjoyed. I'll probably try and choose the more generic ones, because I don't know if some of them are more localized to specifically the schools that I went to, or not, but like YouTube is a lot more of a convenient thing that I think and like that kind of disconnect between the younger generation I'm a part of and the older generation when it comes to YouTube, like I try not to talk about my parents too much on here, but my dad has interests. You know how much he watches YouTube? Even though YouTube has a fair amount about the stuff he likes? Nearly zero. I'm sure he occasionally watches stuff, but I'm probably not nearly zero, but a whole lot less than I do. And I watch a wider range of stuff. So what does he do? He has a full-time career. He doesn't use TikTok. He doesn't use Facebook, really. All these things. And you know what? I think part of that is also because he has a job. I'm not going to give my age. I'm currently in schooling. I'm still learning. I'm trying to make gains for my future, you know. Stay on the grind set. And I think a lot of people take advantage of that. I feel like when I start talking about stuff, I kind of get drawn away from my original points. Like, I'm completely different than what my original point was, but I'll mention Andrew Tate. Oh shoot, I think that's a word that gets you banned. Oh, whatever. I don't care. He is not a good person, first of all. I don't know the specifics about the bad stuff he's done. All I know is that Hustlers University, if you did it, you actually probably deserve the loss of the money. Nice, I'm stuck. Like, if you actually sign up for that, you deserve to lose that money. Because that's kind of sad that you do that, but anyway. There's also the toxic content creators. Now, I'm not sure what platform he was on, really. I mean, he's out of it at this point. Like, he's not that big anymore. I think more people are like, oh yeah, the dude's like really dumb and bad. Obviously, I'm not going to associate with him and watch any of his stuff, but like, there exists that toxic relationship for some things. Like, don't quote me on this. I think I watched a video. I think there's a channel called, Wings Redemption or something like that. Bad things. There's also kind of tough because there are a lot of YouTubers that are not good people. There are bad YouTubers. Personally, whichever Paul brother, I see them both as cringy, but whichever Paul brother decided to stream the Suicide Force in Japan, they're a bad YouTuber. I'm not sure if that's the same one that did the Team 12. I'm not sure about them, but point is, first of all, that's a dumb decision. That's a really bad thing. It's disrespectful. Plus, it's not even your country, dude. Like, and I know from watching CWVA's content that Japan is very strict about what they allow streamed or what they allow to be posted, and I'm sure that they probably wouldn't like it if you were streaming a place where a bunch of people hang themselves. That's not a good person. Andrew Tate, I think is probably worse, but that's a personal opinion. Andrew Tate takes advantage of people who feel subpar, people who feel like they should be better, they should be more of an alpha male. That kind of mindset. It works. It does work. There'll always be a platform for that. And then there's the people who, it's not as much about their influence as much as it is who they are as a person. I'll bring them up. I'm probably going to get kicked off of YouTube for mentioning everything, but like, EDP445, if you don't know. I'm not sure if I can, let me look up. I'm not going to say the word if I'm going to get in trouble. Alright, okay, pedophile, EDP. Now, if you don't know what the situation, I'll speedrun it. Now, from what I've heard, the guy who did the investigation, there's a YouTube, so if you guys don't know Chris Hansen, if you're on YouTube, you've probably seen the memes. Hello, I'm Chris Hansen. He hunted pedophiles. Very honorable work. You know, getting the people who would hurt children off the streets. I respect that if he did it correctly. I honestly don't know. I'm assuming he probably did because he got a formal show. But the point is, there's some YouTuber vigilantes who decided to do that. And the one who busted EDP completely killing his career, which rightfully so, because it was, from what I heard, it was pretty blatant. Apparently he also was possibly also a pedophile, which kind of a conflict of interest in my opinion for that. But anyway, like I'm not going to get into it. I think Moist Critical made a video about it. If you look up probably Moist Critical EDP, you'll probably see something where he talks about both EDP and the person who caught EDP. But he used like a fake thing to make it think that EDP was make EDP think that he was texting a child, an actual child, like a 12-year-old, I think was the age that the thing that the guy came up with, like the sort of like character that they used to try and contact EDP. And EDP was like, yeah, sure. Want to meet up? He did some very inappropriate stuff I'm not going to get into. I'm not getting into it. But they were like, okay, let's meet up. And when they got there, it was like 4 guys. No kid. Because obviously it was a trap. And EDP was like, oh, just getting a cupcake. And no, that became a meme because I will admit, it's probably not the greatest thing, but he was an Eagles fan. I'm a fan of a different NFL team. I did watch some of EDP's content before that whole thing went down. I probably watched EDP's content like 5-6 years ago. And this whole thing went down I think 2 years ago, probably. A year and a half, something like that. And I remember I was shocked. I mean, I wasn't actually shocked. I was kind of surprised. I mean, by that point I hadn't really watched him in a while. But he always seemed a little weird. But anyway, like, that's someone who uses YouTube for bad things. And I'm sure there's a multitude of other YouTubers who use YouTube for bad things. Use it to take advantage of their YouTubers. I think MiniLad did that. I'm pretty sure MiniLad got in trouble for doing that. Call Me Carson texted a minor, or did inappropriate stuff, texted inappropriate stuff to a minor. His career tanked. You know, like, these are people who, like, I'm obviously not going to give my opinions on a lot of those ones because I honestly don't. I'm not going to give a solid opinion on something if I don't know all the details. Sorry, I need to. Well, an hour. I'm not going to give a solid opinion and say this is fact. This is based off fact. If I don't know all the facts, frankly, I probably won't know all the facts. But if I don't know what I would feel to be sufficient facts, I'm not going to really talk about it too in depth. And like a lot of these YouTubers who I think take advantage of people, like it's a lot. It's really messed up to see, and like that's like the bad side of YouTube. It's a really bad side of YouTube to really see. And like I've grown up with this platform. I would say I'm probably not the dumbest guy out there, and I know when something is suspicious, and like possibly harmful. And I haven't had a situation like that. I've had haters. I've actually had haters before. That is not a lie. You know, I try not to get involved. Blackfish actually let me pick them up. Anyway, the point is, YouTube can be a great platform. It can also be a bad platform. I like watching educational videos. YouTubers, like, on a separate note, I'll kind of trail back to my original thought. YouTubers like Michael Reeves, it's a completely different breed from the YouTubers I used to watch. YouTubers who can get by making one video making like a video a month, less often than that. So that is more engineering YouTubers, because I do find those things a little bit cool and stuff. Michael Reeves is also really funny. Especially like the comedy YouTubers are pretty funny. Anyway, I don't want to get too carried away. But the point is, the breed of YouTube has changed a little bit. I think that's pretty plain to see. It's different nowadays. We have a different type of YouTube than we used to. And I think it's a good thing to see growth. And it's not, but there's also things that are bad about, obviously, a platform like this. People who shouldn't be on it are on it. They can manage to take advantage of children. That's really, really bad. We need to work on that. Trying to make sure that doesn't happen as much, you know. Positive strides, you know. Positive strides. And as much good as YouTube does, as much good as a Mr. Beast does, and Andrew Tate can like suck like the money and ruin the lives of so many people. Or not ruin the lives, but make worse than the lives of many people. Or just be a negative influence on everything. Like, I see social media as a whole as having, as most things do, pretty much everything, positives and negatives. Positives is that it can allow people to learn things that they may not have learned alternatively, provide people with funny and interesting content, but it also can demoralize people. It can ruin careers, rightfully from I'd say a decent number of the ones I know, rightfully for many, unrightfully for some. I'm not gonna get, I don't know all the specifics, but like it can be bad. I mean, like, I don't know. I have pretty strong opinions about how I see a YouTube or something like that, like as being like I love YouTube, and I will continue watching YouTube for a long time. I feel probably once my career is progressed on, I would say I'd probably still would watch YouTube. But if I have kids, who knows? You know, back in the day, and if I were to reach a situation when I had young kids, I'll go back to my parents. What did my parents do? Watch TV. YouTube and social media like that is the new TV. Shorter form, microwave society, like I said. Microwave society. Everybody wants everything to be fast, everything more personalized. And I mean, it has its advantages. It does probably spur on some more creativity. We're probably moving exponentially in the last 100 years, technologically. It's great. It's great. It has its faults, as all things do. And though I see it as, I don't know, I see it as being a blessing, it's also the curse of those bad people. There's people who have communities that leech off of them, parasocial relationships, people who become addicted to their content, people who don't, impressionable, like children, which I'm not even getting into the whole thing with YouTube and children, because I don't know all the specifics. I'm not going to say anything, make any claims that I can't back up to any degree at all, like literally none. YouTube has its faults, especially when it comes to kids who will watch YouTube. And like, there's obviously going to be things that go through the cracks in a platform as large as that of YouTube. It's undeniable. It's going to happen. But YouTubers make positive changes for good, but who also can stay human at themselves. Like, I like Mr. Beast's content. His content is entertaining, but I'm a little worried because he's seen as almost like a saint-like figure, and like he's truly treated like idolized, like truly idolized by many. And he does good things, but like he's seen as beyond human when he's just a regular guy. You hear Mr. Beast in his videos, he sounds completely different from you hear on the podcast. Yes, we are YouTube friendly, kid friendly. I'm telling you right now, if anybody hears this, watch the episode of the Yard podcast, which is run by Ludwig, Slime, Aiden, and Nick Falco, I believe. And watch the Mr. Beast episode, and you'll be shocked at the difference in how they sound. And I want to kind of end this up with a memento mori, unus honest, the ending thing, the death. I actually do want to end it, like, make it somewhat go full circle-ish. PewDiePie is pretty much done. When he lost his subscriber board to T-Series, they're their own thing. I'm not going to talk about corporate stuff on YouTube, because that's just a thing where it's like, yeah, it is annoying that there's so much corporate stuff, but I mean, YouTube is a company, they do need to make money, and I'm sure that they get deals with these companies. I would not be surprised if they make deals with these companies, Because there's a pretty even when it comes to view counts, there's a pretty disproportionate amount of like recommendation, like of the amount that those videos get recommended compared to a gaming YouTuber or news outlets or stuff like that. Which news on YouTube, if it's from a formal news outlet that has this stuff, that I'm not sure. I really don't have any say in that whatsoever. I have no real nothing really in that fight for me. But it's interesting to see. Let's just head in here. Okay, yeah. YouTube has done great things, and like a person like a PewDiePie, who is retiring, pretty much retired. Someone like Dan TDM. Dan TDM is the first real, truly more retired YouTuber, because PewDiePie, that was like a year or two after I think Dan TDM had his first child, and after he had his first child, frankly, obviously, I respect the dude. He wants to be there for his kid. Like, that is very honorable. Very honorable. And that's what a good dad would do. Take time off. Focus on your kid. And post less. He's a Family Guy now. I'm not going to make a joke about Family Guy. But the point is, someone like him is... He's that first real big generation. I'm not talking about like the Fred or the Anthony Padilla. Because Anthony Padilla... He's not as big, but he's still on YouTube. For my generation of YouTube, starting from mid-2010s, PewDiePie is the first king to slowly drift off into retirement. The king of YouTube, former king of YouTube, gone. Well, not gone, but like pretty much done with YouTube. Like, that's something that like you wouldn't really have thought about 5 years ago. You wouldn't think PewDiePie was gonna have a kid. 7 years ago when I first started watching YouTube and PewDiePie, probably around that time, I would have been shocked if you're like, oh yeah, 7 years PewDiePie is like gonna post like twice a week, and I was like, dude, he's posting like I think every day, almost every day of the week now. Like, what do you mean? I think he did actually post that much, or nearly that much. But like, times change, and I think that's kind of what people don't really think about on a fast microwave society like that, like there is on YouTube. People don't really think about that, and time still passes by on YouTube, even though in a lot of times it's accelerated compared to, I would say, outside of the vacuum that is YouTube and like social media. Like, you have people whose careers get derailed instantly. I mean, many times for very good reason. But other times, like, they get run off nearly immediately. Like how fast that goes. Like, an actor, like, this isn't the same way compared to like the other people I've brought up who've done bad stuff, but like, I don't want to make this reference because it's not a one-to-one. I just want to say that Robert Downey Jr., as far as I'm aware, before Iron Man, his career was falling off. He had really bad. He was like addicted to a bunch of drugs. I think he went in rehab. He kept, I think, relapsing. He kept skipping out on movies like halfway through. They couldn't finish, and the movies had to change and stuff. And he lost his dependability as an actor. He lost his credit as an actor. And once he changed it into Iron Man, a lot of stuff changed. You know. Now, what do you think of Robert Downey Jr.? He's Iron Man. He's, and Avengers I'm not going to get into. They're a dying franchise in my view. How they do it, I liked Infinity, but I don't want to get in. I don't want to get into it. I don't want to waste my time talking about that when that's not the main point of this. The point is, in a place like YouTube, everything goes so much faster. YouTube is such a new thing. Now, what year was YouTube made? YouTube was created in 2005. February 14th. Wow. Okay. Valentine's Day? What? February 14th, 2005. That's not too many years off from when I was born. That's not too far off. You know, YouTube's age is within a few years of me. And I'll be honest, I'm no 30-year-old, as you probably can guess from my voice. I'm not a 30-year-old, nothing like that. YouTube's within a couple years of me, you know, like it. And in that short period of time, how long has the TV been around? I think since the 60s or something like that. I think. I'm pretty sure that's around the time period. Don't count me on it though, because I don't know. I really don't. 50s, 60s, I don't know. Don't count me on that. But the point is, TV's been around for such a long time. YouTube's been around for like a fraction of that, like a fifth of the time of that. Like it's such a new thing, and I'm kind of interested, almost like morbidly curious to see how do they continue, how do they keep this going, how does this stay interesting over time when there's such a, like, everything goes by so fast, speed of light, like everything goes by so fast, everything, concepts, trends. Something can still be considered a trend if it lasts like a week. 1/52nd of a year, less than 2% of a year. When the average person, probably US, I think lives like, let's just say, I'll go on the highball, 80 years. 2% of a year. Let's just see. I'd say a trend could, a lot of people probably could say a trend counts if it's a week, and it makes it big. Let's say 2 weeks. 1 in 26. I'll round it to 1 in 25. 1/25th of a year. 1 divided by 25 times 80. That math doesn't seem right. 1 divided by 20. 2 divided by 20. Oh, 2 divided by 52. Times, so that's like a single week, 2 weeks to the year, times 80 years. Again, I think my math is wrong, but the point is something that can be like a percentage of your life, even less, can be considered a trend, something that lasted. I find that to be crazy. Because that's such a small amount of time. I mean, humans live for only so long. Sure, not to get morbid, but like... And that's considered to be something that truly... trending. Like, I think a lot of people do it to make a name for themselves. They want to be known. And great, I'm getting all like... Okay, now I'm getting all like... existential with this. God, I did not want to take this route. People want their name to go down in history. Someone like a PewDiePie, who, if this platform is staying strong for the next 100 years, which I'll be honest, I don't see that as happening. But anyway, it could be written as in the books of history, like someone from the 1900s to someone now in the 2000s. The 2023, someone like I don't know. I'm trying to think. I don't know, like Chaplin? Nah, what's the guy's name? The actor? I don't know. Someone like an icon of the times. How would they be viewed in the future? You know, that's such like, I mean, with a place like YouTube, people go by so fast. And most people don't make it to the top. Like I said, on just Twitch alone, one specific section of the internet, 99% of the internet traffic on that platform happens, like, it is for the top 1% of the people who stream on it. 1%. Like, less than 1%. Like, probably a decent bit less. Like, that is insane. That's just crazy. Like, I don't know how, like, I mean, like, I'm never gonna make it big, I don't think. But I do enjoy doing this because I genuinely find it interesting. I like doing, you know, putting myself out there to the 0 to 1 people who watch my streams, whoever actually show up. One of which is probably me, so no one. But you know, I don't know. It's just I see YouTube as being it's such a unique thing. It's a unique concept over the past decades, and like I almost just typed unique. What's this thing called? But like, YouTube is such a unique landscape. There's so many different things. The type of content I used to watch back in the day, completely different. I haven't watched a Minecraft YouTuber consistently in years. I haven't. They're not interesting to me anymore. For the most part, they're not that entertaining to me. It's not their fault. Technically, it's my fault. I've changed as a person, you know. That's kind of just how things go on a platform like YouTube. That's what's expected to happen. Like, it's just I find it so weird, you know. A place such as this, a place full of like so many different things, is just a blip. Everything's just a blip. All these trends, I think people are gonna remember TikTok trends. I mean, like, I will say, on TikTok's front, I'm pretty sure they survived a lot longer than their predecessor of Musically, the predecessor Musically, and whatever the other one was, I think, Vine. I think they're kind of like the spiritual predecessors to it. They've survived a lot longer. And I'll admit, TikTok compilations, some of them are kind of funny. Only some of them. Fair number of them are not. So many people comb through it to make these videos, these compilations, for even like meme channels. So many things will never get known. So many things will never be known. No one will ever know. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if it's like me kind of getting all like existential about the whole situation, but like, my co-commentator Sweetie's here to try and wean me off because I said I was gonna end it like 20 minutes ago. This is nearly an hour and a half stream of me babbling. The point is, YouTube is such a diverse place. It is. That's one of the things I value about it. And there's so much content on here. And despite that, I will see nowhere near a sliver, a fraction of what is made. You know, I think I kind of see myself as, whether it's because I'm a product of my times or a little bit of who I am as a person, or my guess is probably more a combination of both. A lot of us are addicted to this content. We're addicted to stimulation in that sort of way anyway. And I think for a lot of people, myself included, YouTube can help to do that, while also providing with sometimes educational stuff, sometimes not, sometimes funny content, sometimes entertaining, sometimes brutal, sometimes everything. And you have to pick and choose what you want to watch, and you have to walk the dangerous slope that is not getting attached, because especially I'm going to bring up the popular MMO situation. I was so devastated when that happened. I was so sad. And it was even more painful to see them, because they were probably still doing, like, recording videos together. Like, Pat and Jen were probably still recording videos together for 6 months to a year after they had already broken up, and they were living separately. Like, my two favorite YouTubers, they were my favorite YouTube duo, just being like, nope, not we're done. it lost its charm. And I think that's where the parasocial relationship, I've been babbling for so much, but like the parasocial relationship really does play a big role. Like, I'll be honest, I'm sure there are plenty of people who don't have friends, who don't have a lot of friends. Especially when I was younger, I had a lot of trouble making friends. That kind of deal can lead a lot of people to form a lot more parasocial relationships on YouTube, where other than ones where like the person tries to get a lot of, like where the YouTuber tries to get a lot of input from their base, or they're really, unless if it's a larger YouTuber where they don't really get to read all the comments or stuff like that, you're not really their friend. They're not your friend. They may act like they're your friend. It's not to be negative, because they may not be a bad person. They don't know you, but you know them. And that one-way street is not the best, I think, developmentally for a lot of people, for like them growing up. It wasn't great for me, honestly, probably. I probably shied away from a lot of friendships that I could have made once I got into it, because I didn't have friendships, which led me to it. And once I got sucked into that, I probably have missed some friendships I could have made outside of it. I may have 79 subscribers, but of the number that I think truly, because no one's actually going to hear this, of the number that I think truly care about my channel, or legitimately would watch my streams when they came on, that number is less than a quarter of the 80, maybe 15 people. A lot of the people have passed me by throughout time. They're gone. They're out of my lives at the moment. Who knows if they eventually check on their YouTube account? I'm on there. I guess congrats if you want to watch this hour and 50-minute stream, or hour and a half stream to listen to me babble about nothing. Then go right ahead. I doubt anyone would get this long, but I wasn't expecting it to be this long. But YouTube is such an interesting platform, and I legitimately am interested to see what happens, because I'll just keep it straight with you guys. No one's going to hear this anyway, so I'll keep the news. I'm probably going to stop. My upload schedule is going to go down even more within probably 6-7 months. It is. It could theoretically possibly go up, but if it goes up by a lot, that probably doesn't mean my life is going so well, because there are other things that honestly need more focus. I've always said, YouTube, nowhere near the top to me. Nowhere near the top on my list of important stuff. Number one for me is my family and friendships. Number two for me is schooling, education, and career. And there's a whole long list of stuff. There's a YouTube at the highest on my list. Probably lower, but at the highest, third. And honestly, that's not a great thing. I would say YouTube probably, if you consider my career as also including my interests, I would say general interests that are not career focused are probably third. YouTube's sort of like that, but YouTube as a whole, I consider to be fourth or fifth on that list at highest. I'm sure I'm forgetting stuff. Like, when I say family stuff, I mean that includes my well-being, my life. Like, so many things come before YouTube to me. Yet it plays such a pivotal role in, like, how I view... I got my voice cracked. On how I view the world. Because, like, if I don't know about culture, especially not as much as I would have done back in the day, I'm not going to Wikipedia too much. I'll do it sometimes. Mwah. My co-commentator Sweetie here. Say hi. You're probably not going to hear about it. You're probably not going to go on Wikipedia every time to look it up. Probably not. Tire myself out by talking. You'll probably go to YouTube and watch a video about it. And you want something funny. Probably not going to turn on the TV, put on Comedy Central. Which, by the way, Key and Peele was actually kind of funny. I watched some Key and Peele sketches. They have some pretty good ones. You're going to go on YouTube and you're going to... Although, if you're really depressed and sad like me, you're going to watch a meme review video. Or like you're going to watch a meme compilation video. Or you're going to be a Chad. And you're going to watch a... And you're going to watch... Like, well, I do watch the meme channels, but, or you're gonna watch one of the, I don't know, one of excuse me, you're gonna watch one of those, oh, sorry, my cats, don't mind me. You're gonna watch some random video, or one of your favorite YouTubers who's funny. Because I feel like, what really separates, at very least, the YouTubers that I watch, is that I don't like the ones, I generally don't watch ones that I don't find to be funny at all. The humor plays a very large role in my entertainment. I'm sure it does with a lot of other people. That's why you see so many big, a lot of these big YouTubers making people laugh. People like Jacksepticeye. He's not the funniest. He's entertaining, and he can be funny. But he's got the entertainment value that does make up for the strictly comedy-based ones, where if it's not comedic, it's not entertaining. And I don't know. I'm really rambling about it, but like, I don't know. I find YouTube to be such an interesting sphere. It's such an interesting thing to talk about. Eventually, I might actually make a concise video about this. Probably not, because I'm lazy. But do expect maybe an upload in the future. I do have some. I did make a best of my well, not Matrix. Sorry, the Super Hot VR video, but I've been rambling on for long enough. Yeah, you know, I need to get off of here before I get a headache. But, you know, YouTube has been a major part of my life up to this point. More than it probably should be. YouTube affects a lot of people the way that they grow. And for the good and the bad that brings, I cannot say. It's probably more an individual person-to-person basis. And I'm happy to say that YouTube has helped me to find other interests. That's one of the things I find beautiful about it. If it's something that you grow to love, but you never would have learned to love if not for the sharing of information that is YouTube. Like, I'll be honest, I find engineering really cool. That stuff's sick. It's so cool what they do with that stuff. I would have probably not been thought engineering was nearly as cool if I hadn't watched YouTubers like Michael Reeves, William Osman, I Did a Thing. Those are the main real ones I watch. Alan Pan, but I mean those are the main, like, you know, engineering YouTubers I watch. Michael Reeves is the GOAT. But Michael Reeves doesn't do as much of that now, unfortunately. I'm a little bit sad about that, but so be it, you know. He's grown as a YouTuber. Oh, sorry. He's grown from being strictly an engineering YouTuber to now he's funny enough to be his own kind of YouTuber. He does streaming a lot more now, which, I'll be honest, personally, I wish he would do a lot more engineering, because I really love the engineering stuff, but that's the thing. I don't have a say. He's his own person. I will most likely never meet the guy in my life. Never. He'll never know my name. He'll never know who I am. That's the kind of thing about YouTube. It connects people, but it connects people by highlighting the distance between them. And you can either choose to ignore that or choose to acknowledge it. And either way, I don't know what the result would be of that. But people need to recognize, especially the kids on YouTube, I'd say, which YouTube kids I feel somewhat fail to do so. Because it's very stringent. It's like not good enough. But, like, something I think, I can't remember which YouTuber, like, says it a lot, but like, I wouldn't be surprised if this is true. I probably is. I would not be surprised if a lot of parents, their kid is being loud, knowing, like a probably 5 to 7 year old, they're like, oh, I don't want to deal with this. Give them the iPad, put YouTube on. Don't deal with your kid. Not only is that a lost relationship, like lost time for the kid to spend with their parents, like time that they can never get back, that is also basically mean that the child is somewhat raised by random people, and kids' minds can be melded. Kids' minds are still growing, and they can grow in different ways based on what they know and what they see and what they hear and what they do because of others and what others do on YouTube. Now, no 5-year-old's gonna be able to do a Mr. Beast thing unless their parents got a lot of money, but like a lot of 5-year-olds could probably do the same thing that I'd say probably still also like younger kids do, but a lot more like older like teenagers would do to try to go clout chasing. Like doing something dangerous for no reason, just to get people to acknowledge you on YouTube. So that craving of admiration. And it's lonely from the top. That's why the phrase exists, because it can be true. It can be. I mean, like, the thing that really matters is the relationships. And though YouTube, you may think it's a relationship that you have with the YouTuber you watch, unless it's a really small one, or you like actually know the YouTuber like well from most likely before they're a YouTuber, or you are a content creator who knows another content creator that may be larger than you. YouTube will always be you aren't really knowing the person unless you actually know the person. I kind of want to end it off there because I will keep talking until like tomorrow morning if I keep going. My co-commentator Sweetie is currently laying on my lap. She's very cute. And there's no shot that I was like, oh, when I was 3 minutes into this, I was like, oh, I'll edit this. I might edit this down because I feel like it's interesting. But you know what? If I'm gonna make a video or something, I'm gonna make the video separate from this, and I'll probably write down some of the topic points that I made in this, but it's gonna be separate from this certainly, because I'm not gonna go through an hour-and-a-half video. I already had to go through like an hour-long stream from the super hot VR one, try editing. Granted, I did a lot more editing tricks on that I would do on this kind of a video, but like. It took me like 4 hours of editing over time, and I was really trying to tune it up on iMovie. You know, I'm the iMovie goat, the last living YouTuber to use iMovie. It's a fossil, a relic of an ancient species of YouTuber. Like, but anyway, like I don't know. I have mixed feelings about YouTube. I really enjoy it, but it would be dumb not to recognize the faults in anything. Very rarely does something completely positive. Charity. I respect charities. The ones that use the money right. Because I'm sure there are I know there are at least some charities and people, and these I say are some of the most vile people on earth. Like, no way! I can walk on water. Okay, now I'm back. Okay. Some of the most vile people are those who take advantage of people's charity. People trying to be good people, trying to help others who are not as fortunate, and just stealing the money. They just take the money for themselves. Don't use it for anyone else. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. But like, there's always an ounce of badness in something, and that's not being pessimistic. There's almost always something that could use work, something that's not good in nearly everything you do, everything you can do. It's just a fact of life, you know. You always need to be cognizant of that. I don't have the drill arm out right now. Yo, he's dead! Oh my god, oh my god. He's going through the ground. Can I lift him up? Lift! Sorry. Goofy. Yeah, I've been blabbing on enough. I'm happy to get rid of that guy though. But anyway, there's always an ounce of something. There's always something that could be bad. And YouTube has its faults. It's something that you can never be I have no clue what's gonna happen to YouTube in a decade. I may not be on YouTube. There may be something that takes over the spot of YouTube. I mean, there could be something that dethrones YouTube. Very possible. Very possible. A bit unlikely for like the next decade maybe, but it's possible for the long term. Very possible. That's something that's such a interesting kind of thing. How people change over time. How people's habits change over time. You know, like if anyone hears this, they're probably gonna think I'm like I'm a madman, which they would only be half wrong. They'd only be like half right, half wrong. So, but like the point is, YouTube is a passion of mine, not for the fact. Partially, I think me making a YouTube channel helped me to get the helped with me coming to terms with the fact that you can form parasocial relationships without even thinking about it. Subconsciously, you're like, oh my gosh, I can't wait for him. He's my boy, my buddy, my friend. Never talked to him in my life. Never talked to Jacksepticeye in my life. Probably never will. Never see him in my life either, probably. Still, you make that connection, and what are you gonna do? You have to learn when to know that it isn't healthy or it isn't right. Like, it's not the right thing to do. Like, truly, I do believe that, like, I don't know, platforms like anything that involves content creation can come under fire many times for good reasons. I bet you guys don't know. I'm like 99% sure this is correct. Like 90% sure though. You can actually double check. Wizard of Oz, classic movie. I've seen it a couple times, probably. Did you know that the snow was asbestos? Judy Garland, who played Dorothy and was a child at the time, was I believe both abused and gained multiple addictions from her time in there. The first Wicked Witch got brutally burned. Those are things you don't always know. There are things behind the scenes. There are things that people brush under the rug. Recently, I'm not going to get into it. I think it was just more of a streamer, Atrioc, got in trouble because he was involved in a service that took advantage of the likeness of female streamers. That's not a good thing to do. You have people like that who do really dumb things that are disrespectful to others. You have people who disrespect their colleagues like that. You have people who disrespect their viewers and society as a whole, like Toy Story alien hat guy, Logan Paul, I believe. I don't think it was Jake Paul. And then you have people like EDP, who I'm sure for a time he was hiding in the shadows. I'm sure. And he got away with it until that point. And you never know. You never know. You always have to be cognizant because that shock can hurt you. Like, this is partially me trying to give a warning because, I don't know, like, after the Popular Memo situation, like, that tore me up for such a long time. For such a long time, I was so, like, for like at least a few months, I was so sad because I was like, when I go home, I'm not going to watch one of their videos. There isn't going to be a new one. Or there is, but it doesn't feel the same. Part of that's childhood and being younger and growing in life, but part of it's also the way that YouTube is made. Advertisements on YouTube, advertisements to children in a whole, not good, but not the way it's marketed is not the best. But anyway, I'm not going to get into everything. Point is, memento mori, remember death. YouTube is always changing. If you didn't see Unis Honest, you really missed out, and they made a point that any re-uploads would be taken down. And I take a lot of random screenshots on my phone at times. Whether it's to make sure I remember the point that I was in the stream, or it's a funny meme I found. But the few photos that I do relish though I don't look at them a lot. When I scroll through my photos, I notice them and I think about it for a moment. Are the screenshots that I took during an Unis Honest video to keep track of it, because that image tells 1,000 words. It reminds me. It takes me back to the time when I would. That was one of those times I legitimately could go home and be like, "There's gonna be a Unis Honest video tonight." I highly like. I could not give more like compliments to Markiplier and Crank Gameplays, because, and also Markiplier's girlfriend. I don't know if they're married. I think girlfriend Amy, who the three of them were the core of the channel. Because that is truly the first time that platform like YouTube has, on that large of a scale, I think it got like 3 million subscribers or more. First real time that has been used as an actual experiment, a breeding ground for ideas that weren't just like more connected to the platform being a platform as it is. It was a sort of biography in a sense. It told a tale. It was more realistic than YouTube, where everything seems the same until you look at it in the large scale. PewDiePie has a kid now. PewDiePie didn't have a kid years ago when I first watched him. He was just a random guy. What's going on, Bruce? He was some random guy. Like, just some YouTuber I watched because he was entertaining. Time changes and so does YouTube, and I keep making a sentence that would be an okay ending, and then I keep going. Time will always move on, and time will change. Times will change, and things will change because of time. And I think over time we'll see how this changes because of YouTube, and how things change because of YouTube, and how YouTube changes in order to stay relevant. And that's kind of what I was getting into with the whole content creator thing. Like, the biggest thing in YouTube is find that balance between what you want to make. I might actually record the video next in my room. Maybe. I'm not sure. But, like, the biggest thing is to find that balance between what you want, especially for the big streamers. It's finding that meaning and finding what the middle ground between what you want to make and what you need to make in order to live the way you want to live as a YouTuber, to not have to switch jobs. Because I'm sure there are plenty of YouTubers that they were doing okay for a little bit. They were working as a YouTuber full time, and then other people just stop watching their stuff or whatnot, and suddenly their career's gone and they have to return back to the workforce. I'm not gonna get into everything, but I'm sure there are at least a few YouTubers that have that situation happen to them. It happened to them, I'm sure. Like, those aren't the ones, and the thing is, those aren't the YouTubers you probably remember. The ones who had to return back to the workforce, like, outside of YouTube, because their YouTube wasn't providing for them. Those aren't the ones you remember. You remember the ones that do make it. And that's the same thing in life. You remember the people who make it big, necessarily. You don't always remember the people who played the role in that. I think that's, of course, to get super existential, that's kind of life. And I think YouTube is a good kind of micro, well, not that micro of a cosm, but like a slightly smaller cosm, like, of the kind of real world, the outer world, the outside world, the world that we all live in when we turn our phones off and get to work or get to class or whatever. And I think that's the best note to leave it before I blab until my throat is hoarser than it is now. So thank you guys for watching. I may actually just record the video next. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Maybe this weekend. I'm not sure if I'll stream. I'll probably not stream this weekend. Maybe next week. We'll see. But thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time.